class?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, appreciate it. We're picking up here, working with acceleration 2.4. Definition acceleration for an object in rectilinear motion. Its distance s from the origin at time t is given by the function s of t. So s is the distance or the position where it's at a given time. First derivative, ds dt, that's the Leibniz of, so we're taking the derivative of s in terms of t, is the velocity v of t at the time. And then the next one is the acceleration a of t of an object at time t is defined as the rate of change of velocity with respect to time. So, acceleration is the same as a at t, which is same as the derivative of the velocity in terms of time. Here's the same thing, it says the same thing. And over here, this, so it's the derivative of the position and the derivative of that. So that's another way of saying it, the second derivative. Or second derivative is d2. So it's second derivative of s, the derivative in terms of time. Because I don't know if you guys ever heard it before, there's a term where acceleration, when you're stating what my acceleration is going to be 9.5 feet per second, that's what that means. So per second means that it is a rate that changes over time as it increases. So, yes. Yes? Maybe? Okay. So, second derivative of distance with respect to time. Analyzing vertical motion. A ball is propelled vertically upward from the ground. The initial velocity of 29.4 meters per second. That's important. If it gives me a rate of change, that is the velocity. That's important. The height s in meters of the ball above the ground is approximately, okay, s of t, so there's my function. It is going to be negative 4.9 t squared plus 29.4 t, where t is the number of seconds that elapsed from the ball is released. Now, let's do some super basic. Y equals mx plus b. In a function like this, what is that term supposed to be? There's no variable, that's a constant, right? Okay, so in basic y equals mx plus b, what is the b supposed to be? The y-intercept, right? So, bless you, in a trinomial or a binomial, any of them, that constant should be my intercept. The constant should be the intercept. Where is it touching y? If you notice, this one right here doesn't have one, does it? Nope, it doesn't have one. So therefore, that means it's starting at ground level. Okay, right here. What is the velocity of the ball at time t? What is its velocity at t 1 second? So I'm going to start by writing out my equation. It is s of t is negative 4.9 t squared. And what's that, minus or plus? T. So this is my position at any given time. Now let's go ahead and take the derivative. So if I take the derivative, my s prime of t, which is the same as saying v of t, because you're going to see it in both manners here. V of t, s of t. Hey.
Hey. Bootleg hands for Forge.
Oh, yes, okay. So, equals, so let's take the derivative. This is going to give me, what's that? negative 9.8 t plus 29.4. That negative 9.8. Does that ring a bell? For those people that are taking physics, does that ring a bell? Because you're wrong. It's wrong. No, you approximate to that, but when you approximate, the further you get away from, the worse your answer is going to be. Do you know why they approximate to 10? Because you guys suck at math, and then they just rounded it to 10 because people can't math. That's gross. No. In college, pi is pi. You just leave it as pi. Until you actually need a decimal answer where you round it to 3 decimal places. That's the 1,000th place for those people trying to keep track. So yes, it is very very small. Small, so there is no errors in any of the thing until you get to the very end where you approximate the answer. But if you're plugging in 10 for gravity all the time, after how many steps is it not even going to be close to the answer? So, yeah, it's a while. Okay, so it said find the velocity. So we got velocity here. Now, it also said velocity at 1. Yes, that guy. That should be a 4. I'm sorry. 4. I don't know. I think it's like spots on my board that's like dead right there. So, there you go. Okay. So, thank you. So, I gotta just make sure. So, anyway, so it said S of 1, right? Or, I'm sorry, V of 1. So V of 1 is going to be, let me see, negative 9.8 plus 29.4, which is 19.6? Is that what it is? You guys are better at math than I am, so I need your help. Combine those two numbers. I suck at math. That's why they put me here. They're like, man, calculus is theoretical. You really don't even need, you could just like fake it the whole time. I'm like, yes, I'm good at that. Because not too many people could actually question me on any of it. So if you guys have a problem, who are you going to go to? It's either me or Grill, that's about it. You know, if you try and go to like some of the other teachers and they're like, I've done calculus in 30 years or something. So, anyway. Huh? Ghostbusters? Yeah. You can always call the Bacon hotline too. That one actually does it too. There is a Bacon hotline, just so you know. All right, so is it 19.6? Thank you. B, when the ball reaches a maximum height. Ooh, maximum height. So think about that. As it's going up, the maximum height is going to be, what's that called in a parabola? Okay, it's an extreme. Not inflection. Maximum, minimum, or maximum, right? So that means that it's starting to go up, 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 so my slope is going to be positive right there, right? And then once it gets to the top, the slope is 0, then the slope starts going negative. So if I'm looking for a minimum or a maximum, I need my slope to be 0. That is an amazing note, and the sooner you get that, the better. a minimum or maximum, if you need a minimum or maximum, the slope is 0. That means that my derivative is equal to 0, right? So, I'm going to take my derivative, which is my v of t, and I'm going to take this function here. Let me change colors, because why not? I have all this colorful stuff. And make it look like you're seeing in 3D here. Let me see, I have a negative 9.8 t plus 2t 9.4. And like I said, you set it equal to what? 0. Set it equal to 0. So 0 equals negative 9.8 t plus 29.4. Do a little bit of math. I get negative 29.4 is equal to negative 9.8 t. And you guys are going to do some calculations for me, right? Again, I suck at the math, so I need your guys' assistance.
3.
Exactly 3?
It's 27, 2.4. Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So t is 3. 3 what? What? Seconds. That's important. We talk about a different rates, different units and all that. So that could give you a wrong answer if you don't label it correctly. So it's going to be 3 seconds. So that is my max. All right, let's see. What is the maximum height the ball reaches? So at that point, what am I looking for if I'm looking for the maximum height? Okay, it's going to be meters, but what function am I going to use? S, right? S is my position, right? That's what I need to do. It has nothing to do with the slope, which is my derivatives. It's not motion, it's just asking for the height. So that's my position. So I know that it happens when? At 3 seconds. So I'm going to go and plug in 3 seconds for that. So we had S of 3 is, oh, like that, right? Okay. So like I said, you guys are better at math than I am, so I'm hoping you help me with this. Huh?
Do you submit the paper?
I don't know what you're saying.
The paper, just
What paper?
Tucson.
Oh, Tucson paper? Okay, we'll talk about that later after, like, you know, we actually do math and I'm recording this lesson. What do we get? Go ahead, Treat. You can do it in your head if you want.
44.1.
44.1? You guys agree? Okay. And what is that units? Meters, because I'm talking about my height. is the acceleration of the ball at any time? So we said acceleration is the derivative of the velocity. Very good. Derivative velocity. So my velocity is going to be negative 9.8 t plus 29.4. So there you go. All right, so I have my velocity, and then I'm going to take my derivative of the velocity. So it's going to be v prime of t, which also is known as a of t, or you could also say it's going to be s double prime of t. So take the derivative, I get negative 9.8. Negative 9.8 is my acceleration. It's almost like that is a mathematical constant all the time here on Earth.
48. See, ask him, is it 9.8 or
Why?
he's awesome. Also,
Okay. See? He says 9.8. So anyway, so my acceleration is 9.8, right? Did I lose a negative there? Yes, I did. I lost a negative on there. Negative 9.8. So, how long is a ball in the air? So, what do I want to find? What? M equals 0. The slope, 0? How long? Okay, so if it's how long, it means I'm looking for a t, right? Okay, so I'm looking for time. And what would my position be if it's in the air, right? My position tells me how high, right? And then it's still in the air, and what happens at the position if it's not in the air? 0. I set my position equal to 0. Because I'm looking for that. I'm looking for my position because time in the air means that it's back on the ground. Does that make sense? Hopefully? Christian? Okay. So that means I'm going to go back to my original function, which is s of t is negative 4.9 t squared plus 29.4 t. So I want to know where this is going to be equal to 0, so I'm just going to go and say f that. Right? So we're going to factor that. You like that? See, Christian just got that. It gets better every time. Anyway, so let's see. Set this equal to 0. So my position equals 0. Factor out a t. Can I factor out anything else? No. You can factor out a 4.9?
Yeah, it's 5. Yeah.
So you're saying we can factor out a 4.9
Yeah.
t, and I'm left with, let's factor out that negative also. Make this math so much easier.
T.
And then I'm left with a t, and then that's going to change this to a minus
5,
6.
6.
6. See, you guys are so much better at math than I am.
This is.
Oh yeah. Calculator do help, right? Juju Bear, you okay? Alright, so now set each one equal to 0. So using the 0 product rule, says each one times 0 would make this whole thing true. So that means with this, I get t is 0. Is that true? When my time is 0, what was my position? 0, because it was on the ground when I'm starting, right? That's important, especially when I'm doing this. All right, and this next one, that's going to mean that t is a positive 6. So that means that it's going to hit a ground again at positive 6. So it starts on the ground 6 and ends on the ground at 6. So, how long is it in the air? 6 what? Seconds. Very good. 6 seconds. Next one. What is the velocity of the ball upon impact with the ground? So velocity is which one? That's a first derivative, right? Velocity is my first derivative. So I'm going to set my first derivative and I'm going to evaluate it for 6 seconds. So my velocity of t was negative 9.8 t plus 29.4. And so v of 6, negative 9.8 times 6 plus 29.4. So v of 6 is... Wow, wow. Surrey is not very good with calculus. Okay, now say it again. Negative 29.4 meters per second. Now remember, velocity is a rate of change. You need to label it as a rate of change all the time. Distance over time. Are we okay with that so far? Surrey? Did you get that, Surrey? Oh, okay. All right. So, what is the total distance traveled by the ball? Total distance traveled by the ball. So, what function am I looking at? The first one, my position, right? This one should be easy. Why is this one easy? I know that the total distance traveled, it's going to go up and it's going to come back down, right? So what would the position be when it's finally done? It's back at 0, isn't it? Okay. So if it's back at 0, this is one of those questions, the total distance, if I try to add together. So if I walk from here to Douche Bros and I walk backwards and I end up at this exact same spot. So did I say that I went 0 distance? No. I walked there and then I walked back, right? So even though I walked backwards, I'm still traveling the same distance, right? So do I have to do all crazy math for this? What's my answer? Say it again. 88.2. Where'd you get that?
Because that's the maximum height, so it's just 2.
Because, very good. There we go, you saw that. So it is my 44.1 is my total distance going there, but the next distance is coming back down. Since it is coming down, that means it would be a negative. So I have to try and think about that mathematically. The total distance would come out, if I just try to plug in 6, it's going to give me 0. But I know it's going to go up to a maximum height of 44.1 and come back down that same distance. So my travel going back way is going to be 88.2 meters. Alright. So, good job. Questions, concerns, complaints, conspiracy theories? No? Okay. Alright. That means homework is due when? Tuesday.